So we'll call the meeting to order. The flag is over there. We'll stand by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mission statement: the Viroqua area schools will nurture excellence, unlock potential, and ignite. We have students here this evening. We have Lynn Roberts and Al Haltana. Please come this way. Thank you for coming tonight on this dreary fall evening.
I can go first. Hi, my name is Lynn Roberts. I've been attending Laurel all 4 years of high school. During my time at Laurel, I've been involved both at Laurel and high school community athletics, such as cross country and track. And I'm president of the student council, and I'm in sports with strength. I've enjoyed participating in classes up at Laurel, such as different facilitated Englishes and taking some of my own independent studies, but also kind of in my dual citizenship, enjoying classes downstairs. I've liked anatomy class, and psych has been really interesting this year. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I've applied to schools. I intend to go to college, but I don't know what for. And I guess up at Laurel, I also co-run the newsletter with my friend Bria, which gets us involved in all the Laurel happenings.
So I'm Mel, and I joined Laurel my sophomore year. I was a homeschool student downstairs in Viroqua, so I only took 3 classes, and then I ditched. And then my sophomore year, I learned about, well, my freshman year, I learned about Laurel, and then I applied, and I started my sophomore year, and it's been pretty amazing. I was a homeschool student before this, like I said, and it was a great transition from going from homeschooled, which has a wee bit of structure, to going to Laurel, where I can be doing whatever classes best fit me. Up at Laurel, I am co-running the cabaret this year, so we're putting on a bunch of skits that will be happening later next month. And then I also help with the yearbook. So it's really fun to take pictures of all of our events that we go to, like going to American Players Theater, or just events that happen around Laurel that keep us entertained. I don't take a lot of downstairs classes personally. I take more independent studies or classes by Renee or other classes that are upstairs that are facilitated, and it's been a wonderful experience for me. I think that's all I have.
Yeah.
Any questions for them? So you don't have to know what you're going to do next year. You have no idea how many students say that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But if there's ever anything that we can do as a district to help either of you as far as what that plan might be in the future, please let any of us know, and we're happy to assist in any way, shape, or form. I did like the dual citizenship. I think that should stick, actually. It's a really nice way of relationship. And it's always so interesting to hear students that attend Laurel and how they attend and how differently they attend, and the different things that you're all involved in. And it's really a pleasure to see you grow and find your way through the educational puzzle of life. So thank you. Thank you for coming, and we wish you only the best.
Thank you.
Or not. We do give options. We are talking about the playground next. Playground. So next we have even the playground doesn't keep them interested in this. Spotlight on education. We have the new elementary playground equipment. I'd like to speak to that.
Up here. Maybe. See you. Yeah, my turn here. I mean, just wanted to make sure you had your heads up. Struggling. All right, so then I would. Share my screen? Yep. That should work. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, it's okay. Oh, and now you're gonna go down shift. Gotcha. Okay, I think that should be it. A lot of steps. All right, for a small cool video. So yeah, this. It's a new playground equipment at the elementary school. So over the summer, Cody, with all the other million things going on, Cody and the maintenance crew did a safety check of all the elementary playground equipment and the equipment on the south side of the elementary school, which I think was brought over from somewhere. Was in not very good shape, to put it mildly. Lots of some of the bridges that go across were starting to fail and can't get parts for a lot of that stuff anymore. So we came up with a plan to, using referendum money, part of the building project, to add, this would be the third stage of playground equipment, and start slowly moving equipment to the east side of the playground. So it's behind the school, which is safer for kids, easier to monitor, and yeah, also our swings were down right where the new retention pond. That didn't sound right. Retention
What's kind
pond.
of it is.
Doesn't really work to have swings down there. So new swings, a new piece of climbing equipment. I don't know what it, we just call it the climbing equipment. It's super cool. Planned all that in June. Unfortunately, you know, everything takes so much time, and summer's when they install these. I think it was the last week in October. Finally was rolling, but kids, and you don't need me to talk about it. I'll just play this 2-minute video and you can see how.
So
what kids
the
think of it.
new piece is on the left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so this piece, originally, there were, this area was the first phase, even must have been more than 5 years ago, because it was here when I got here. This was added just last year, 2 years
Last
ago.
year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
something like that.
And then this is a new piece, and then swing set down right by the building there.
Is this the final piece or another piece?
We're running out of room back there,
Okay.
but then we've talked about possibly what we could do on that south side. There's still one piece of equipment there that's in fairly good condition.
Okay.
So we've talked about some ideas, possible ideas going forward for over there as well. So it's easier just to not listen to me and hear what's going on or see what's going on. Tried to get some kids to put their input, like, what do you think of that? And it was, we were saying either nothing, silence, or, oh, it's so cool, oh, it's something. It's not the same answer, so. Maybe we just show a little bit of action. You get the idea. Rain, this is a new one. Get connections. Yeah, so this is first grade and then about 3/4. Echo on it. yeah, like probably 3/4 of the first grade were on it at one time, which was awesome. Yeah, and we talked about, should we have some safety? What would the expectations be? Of course, it's, well, you're the principal, what should the safety expectations be like? I don't know, it doesn't come with directions really. We just go out and make sure kids are respectful, responsible, safe, kind, and I think the only thing we figured out is it's made that you can climb all the way over the top, but on the very top, kids would get to the top and want to stand up. So maybe don't do that. That doesn't seem safe, but yeah, it's gone super. There's so much to do on it, you know, you can climb up and go through the slide. Stuff to crawl through the inside. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Very cool.
So you can just hit that step share on the bottom. Hit the share button, I'll share.
Go to my other one, probably share next, but
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah, super cool piece of equipment. Yeah, kids love it. It's awesome. It kind of, teachers have figured out how to rotate kids on and off because there's for 15 minutes, there's 2 grade levels out there at a time. So when the other grade level comes out, so far they've said, okay, first grade you're off, second grade's on, or however it works out.
Nice
Super
that it
cool
fits
piece.
a lot of people
That's-
too.
It has a lot of people and they love it. Yeah, it's very cool. And that, again, that's part of the referendum is how that was paid for, which is awesome.
Underneath the swings, are those chips? Or
Yes, yep, for that rubberized surface. It's
Oh, yeah.
costly, super safe for something climbing like that, but
We know.
yes.
Yeah.
I've also been told that when you put the bark chips by the rubberized surface, that it breaks down the rubberized surfaces. There's something in between there,
Oh, yeah, there's,
like blacktop.
Yeah,
there's like
or
almost
something.
there's a grass field almost in between that and then the older piece of equipment that has the wood chips, and then there's a sidewalk, and then there's
Nice.
each of the 3 phases that Pat talked about all have their own rubberized surface. So, but all at different ages now. You know?
Right.
But
Yep.
it's fine for them, but my
Yep.
understanding is that bark chips can be damaging
Yeah,
to
you
them
can see that.
if they touch.
Mhm.
And then the next item, we have the VAMs. Do you have more that you wanted to share with us?
Nope, that was it, yeah.
Okay. We have the key performance indicators from VAMs.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have Tina Jensen join me for that. She's the VAM's Governance Council President.
Hi,
Thanks for
everybody.
coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Okay, sure. So first of all, thank you for Pat for putting this together. This is something that we've been working on for a while. In 2023, we revised or had to update the VAM's contract, the charter contract with the district. And that's a process. And through that process, we as a governance council are really trying to adhere to the contract and growing with that as we get more comfortable with all the requirements that are in there. So we wanted to first touch base about what VAMs is for some folks that may watch this later, folks of the public, they might not be familiar. We get that quite a bit, that folks are not really sure where VAMs is. And so we wanted to start really kind of doing some more outreach to let people know that. So the Viroqua Area Montessori School, which is VAMS, is a tuition-free nonprofit public charter school. It was established in 2014 by a group of parents along with the school board. And it currently serves 145 students. Our maximum capacity at this point is 160 students in grades 4K through grade 8. My son was the first pre-K class. So when VAMS first started, it was actually pre-K through 3rd grade. And then it has grown, it grew to then up to 6th grade. And then we added the adolescent program later. VAMS shares a campus with the Viroqua Elementary School and the Viroqua Middle School. So it's split between the schools, and Pat is the principal for both of the schools. So all the way up to 8th grade. Charter schools are public, non-sectarian schools created through business-like contract or charter contracts between the governance council and the sponsoring school board. The charter school law gives charter schools some freedom from state rules and regulations in exchange for greater accountability for results, which Pat will show later. So we were talking about it earlier in our governance council meeting, and a lot of the freedom really comes in curriculum and the ways that we teach, which are in alignment with the VAM's Montessori pedagogy. The charter defines the missions and methods of the charter school, and in the chartering authority holds a school accountable to its charter. So when we negotiated the contract in 2023, we worked with administration and then as well as the members of the governance council at that time. And one of the items that we were tasked with were to create key performance indicators to make sure that we are on track and meeting all of our goals. The district came up with 2 KPIs, and then the governance council was tasked with coming up with some of their own. And so the district's KPIs that we're reporting out on and are required to report out on every year are academic achievement, and that it will be above the state average in all subject areas as measured by the Wisconsin Forward Assessment. Enrollment, we are required to maintain at least 75% of maximum capacity. As I stated earlier, we have 145 students with 160 max capacity. That's broken down by 16 students per grade. So some grades we may have availability spots and some we do not. Then the governance council came up with 3 KPIs. One of them was financial review and approval of the budget on an annual basis. And we have a timeline for doing that. We also think training our team and our staff is very important. So our teachers and assistants will complete required Montessori staff training, which will be paid for by the district. Montessori is a certain pedagogy, as I stated, and so we feel that teacher training is important. Satisfaction. We also know that it takes a village to really do a great job and to raise our kids and have a healthy, well-rounded education. So we have staff evaluations. Teachers and assistants, we want to make sure that they have a voice. And so we do take teacher surveys. That's an annual survey that we give in January every year. We send it out to the teachers. It's not required, but if they want to share their perspectives, they have an outlet to do that. That comes directly to the governance council. And then we also have an exit survey that we utilize for teachers or staff leading VAMs. And then additional indicators as needed are classroom visits, one-on-one teacher, council feedback sessions, teacher assessments, and then administrative satisfaction as well. So the few of these, the first 2, Pat will go into detail next. And then the other ones are just for your information. And those are ones that the governance council works with admin kind of behind the scenes on a yearly basis.
Yeah, so our enrollment, you can see, started back in 2014 of 50 students, and then as we've added grade levels to get to our 145 right now. So we're at 91% capacity, well above the 75% limit. And then academic data, the VAMs on the left, state average on the right, is to be above the state average in all subjects. So this is last spring's forward assessment. So ELA's all 3rd through 8th graders. VAMs is at 78%, the state's at about 40%. Math, VAMs teachers acknowledge that area shows up lower on state testing for whatever reason, but still above the state average. And that's what we use some of our early release time and in-service time is to look at these once they're made public to know what we can improve on without going away from the Montessori method too far, but also to make sure we're performing on assessments. Science is just 4th and 8th grade. It isn't 3rd, not every student 3rd through 8th like the other subject areas. So it's just 4th graders, just 8th graders. That scores super high, 88% of VAM students are meeting the benchmark. Don't be alarmed by it. 4% didn't take a test. That's two students. Seems like a huge number when you see that. And social studies is must have been 4 students that didn't take the test, but the students that did take the test, 90, they all met the benchmark, which is outstanding. So as Heidi said in our governance council meeting earlier, social studies and science are fine. Maybe we need to focus on math. Yeah. But yeah, it's good, very good data. And it takes, an outstanding staff, a very supportive governance council and school board to make all this happen, and the shared staff that we share at the elementary and middle school. special staff, special education staff, speech, OT, counselors, school sites. It takes everyone to get those results in a supportive community and parents. So it's a good thing that we have in Viroqua. It's pretty awesome to have some choices. And some of our next goals are what we can learn from each other from the traditional education standpoint in our charter schools that we have in the district. Questions? I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Have questions?
No, it's, yeah, just having a student in VAMS is the program in comparison to our two older it's just a really good experience overall. Just want to thank the staff and everyone that helps out. Math 24, they did well there, so that's always good from a math standpoint. Yeah, reading, I would question some of the state averages. I was reading at a 12.9 grade level
Mhm.
in sixth grade. So that, how low is the state level? Or what is adequate?
What's the benchmark?
Yep.
12th grade.
I would add to your point, Matt, is like, so my son is now in Laurel, but we found the school before we moved here. And so I know we hear from a lot of parents that actually moved here for the school choice. I know you guys talk about it during your meetings, but we're really fortunate, and as a parent that moved here for the school and then has since started a business in the area. Like, it's a huge economic driver. And we're just very thankful that we have the choice in such a small community to have the lifestyle that we're able to have and have the quality of education that is here. So we're very appreciative of that, and the governance council, I know all the staff, everybody involved, including yourself. We just really appreciate all the work that you do to make those options available. So thank you for that.
One thing that I would say when I'm asked questions about our school district and the different schools and things like that is that, there's not one that's better or worse than the other. And different children learn in different ways, and we want to offer as many options as possible so that everyone can have a successful outcome. And I think our school district has done a pretty good job of doing just that. And then the other question is the voucher system. Is Montessori part of the voucher system? And it is not. And I don't know how else to say that. It is a public charter school. So, the dollars from the state that we get go towards supporting Montessori, just like they do Laurel, just like they do Better Futures, just like they do the traditional school. And the resources are shared. And I just wanted to say that out loud because there just seems to be confusion about how all of that works. So it takes a lot of people to be involved to make it all work. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Kat. The next item, do we have any public comment?
We do. The participants. We will click that down to the right, or have that. So I don't know, Marcus.
Well, so I'm gonna hope that that's true.
Yeah, let's see if that's true. We'll find out.
The person that we have.
So this person is Jim Jarman,
Yep,
and it's about the referendum.
Mhm.
Jim, are you with us?
Jim, can you hear us? I cannot unmute. Do you want to unmute him?
There we go.
I see him.
Is that Jim?
Yeah.
Can you
that's
unmute
Jim.
yourself? There you go.
Okay.
No, he's still
Yeah, no,
muted.
he's not.
Now you're not.
There you go.
All
I think we're
right,
good now.
all right. Jim, go ahead.
All right.
The board.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come and just make a comment today. And the thing I wanted to talk about is is our referendum, and then just some thoughts about transparency and how we can help support this. Because as someone was just talking about this, like people that move to the community, we're part of that group of people that move to the community for the education system and a lot of things that are here. But unfortunately, I think there's a deep sense of distrust in our community today. And that's distrust in public institutions, distrust in elected officials who are supposed to be supporting the community, and even distrust in our process sometimes for putting officials in place. And I believe that we can either accept this worsening distrust as inevitable and throw up our hands, or we can work to actually build trust in our communities and in our officials. And I'm asking, collectively that we reject that temptation to lower expectations, and instead that we focus on building back the confidence in our educational institutions. I believe increasing transparency and visibility of actions would help in healing and building up trust. So increasing transparency can happen in both small and large ways, and small things like communicating more details and information to public attendees of school board meetings about what you're voting on and why. Things like actively engaging with community members that are spending their precious time and energy to attend those events and show support for our school and community. Things like very visibly participating in the community listening sessions for our referendum, which just failed in our community. Even here in this community that is supposed to care so deeply about education and supporting our students and our teachers and our communities that we love. And, we elect public officials so they can lead on behalf of the community. And this means, understanding the community needs, making appropriate recommendations, and then making sure that we show up to bring those ideas to fruition. And so that's being present in the community in visible ways, helping to educate the public about why things are important and why the school board and you personally are committed to those ideas and think that they're going to help our community and our schools. And so, of course, I'm disappointed in the results of the referendum, as I know a lot of people are, and I'm challenging our group collectively to do what it takes to secure the funding necessary to ensure that our Viroqua area schools stay strong. We're in the 15% of school districts in the entire state that are actually growing, and I know you guys know that detail well, but we just failed to pass a referendum to support our district. And outcomes like this, I think, are a recipe to put Viroqua on the same path as the other 85% of schools that are shrinking, that are struggling to support their students, that are losing teachers, and they're in a downward spiral that's extremely hard to break out of. So let's not let this happen. And we're putting faith in you as a board and as individuals that have run on the importance of education in our community. So my ask is, let's make sure we continue to fight for our school, fight for our teachers, fight for our students, fight for the future of the community that we live in as a vibrant, attractive place that draws in talents and resources and engagement. And if you believe these things are important, then how do we show up and fight visibly and loudly and relentlessly to not let these kids down, our teachers, our neighbors, our community, and to fight for the positive outcome that our community needs and deserves? And I think it's really important. I don't think we can let our expectations down, but we have to stay strong and fight for what we think is important for this school. And we need that of you guys. So we're in your corner to do that. Fight for us and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for spending the time and effort to speak to us tonight. The board can't respond necessarily to public comment. The only thing I can say is that we're working on it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an important task, and I know we're asking a lot of you guys, and I know you can't advocate for a position, but we can educate our community members and we can make sure that we're out there visibly. And I think we have a collective need to do that. And so we can support the school, we can support the board, we can do this however needed, but we need to make sure that we're doing that on behalf of our students. And it's really critical to not let this moment in time be a reason that we take our eye off the prize and lower our expectations. But let's stay strong. Let's build this thing the way this community is supposed to, the way this community supports. And I'm here in your corner to do that.
Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. We have approval of the agenda, proof of public notice, October meeting minutes, voucher summary 1 in the amount of $872,473.73. Retirements and resignations, there are none. Appointments, there are none. And the education for employment plan.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I would also like to thank everyone that put the Education for Employment plan together. That is a huge job, and to look for jobs and to fill the next generation in the area of employment. I am hopeful that as time goes on, just as people have spoken here this evening, that we reach out to more of our employers. We have some very interesting employers that are doing some fascinating things. And the more our students can experience those live work experiences, the better for them. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is voucher summary 2 in the amount of $300,015.23.
I'll move to approve the voucher summary 2 in the amount of $300,015.23.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain. Information and discussion, we have donations over $250. There's a total of $3,000, and that's from the Viroqua Area Foundation. The Viroqua Foundation has the Malin Christensen Fund, and we give money. I'm on the board of the Viroqua Foundation. We give money to the Westby School District and the Viroqua School District each year. This year it was $300 to 10 families in our district as well as Westby, and it's given this time of the year for assistance with, it could be for Thanksgiving, it could be for some gifts, it could be for holidays coming up and extra expenses that are incurred. So that is a wonderful thing. The district, it's weird to say thank you for your giving when you're on the other end of that too. It's just awkward. District Administrator, facilities update. You have the November owners report and the project updates webpage.
Yeah. Goes on us on chat too.
Well, he's looking for us to also say the tech ed renovation house and ribbon cutting will be December 12th. We hope everyone can attend. We're very excited about that. I think it starts at
5:15.
5:15 is
Yep.
the ribbon cutting.
So, yep, just giving you a quick update. Here's the owner's report from this month. And so a couple of big things. So they are working on, and I believe they've finished, and I've actually got Renee here that can kind of probably tell me a little bit more. Are they done being loud back by you?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet.
Nice. All right. So they replaced the lift behind the gym, behind Laurel High School. And that was a 1-for-1 replacement with a new lift. We were trying to get another elevator similar to the actual elevator that we have down over here by the cafeteria. However, that shaft and the way that it was designed and built just would not allow us the clearance that we needed in order to put an actual elevator in. So that one did get a new lift, and I believe they're done with that work now, and that's exciting. They will be able to hand back the elementary bathrooms that are being renovated by the gym in the elementary space and by the cafetorium right there in between the two, the end of this week. So they'll be able to go ahead and use those for any of our sporting events or evening activities, as well as the really busy lunchtime over there at the elementary. And yeah, so now we've shifted full focus to the tech ed, and I'm gonna zoom in here so you guys can kind of see some of these pictures. So on the left here, we have the exterior going up, and so you can see along the tech ed wing, this is that open storage area. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor right there, but that's that open storage area that you can see from this side on the right. And so it's fenced in, will allow for ventilation, and it's not an interior space. But will allow for us to have storage for longer, not only wood, but also metal, pipe, all sorts of exterior pieces. I don't know if I can say this, I've never said this before, but we have a beautiful dust collection system now. I'm pretty sure I've never said those words. But that's the picture on the left, and that ties right into the picture on the right. So the orange is the dust collection system, and so that's weaving in and out all the way through the wood shop, which more than doubled in size with this project. Very interesting pieces about it, and you learn so much about systems when you're going through a process like this. When you have a dust collector of this size, it actually has a really interesting impact on your building efficiency because you're pulling out not only dust, but you're pulling out warm air, right? And so this actually has a system that will come and feed that warm air through the system, or cool air, depending on what season we're in. And then we'll go into the dust collection system, and then that will actually filter everything, clean it back out, and pushes the warm air back in during the winter season and pushes the cold air back into the building during the cold season or during the warm season. And so that's a really interesting feature, and one that I was not prepared for when that was, it's like, oh, yeah, I guess when you're pulling that much air out, we probably need to worry about that. Over here, we've got welding stations going in. You can see each has its own ventilation system, all of the components are all actually fed in from the outside of the building for some safety pieces, and then keeps everything really clean. On the right picture there is the walk-in freezer and cooler getting put together. That is completely finished now in that meat flex room. And so that is an incredible room next to our ag classroom. And so you can see that the industrial kitchen equipment coming in here. This is also a space. This is in the small animals room. And so this one is again more stainless. There's a lot of stainless down there. You can see caulking of the concrete floor joints on the right there. Continuing, picture on the left is an overall just a large group space. So this is where the FFA alumni will be up here along this bar area. These are all plugins for tons of slow cookers and things like that. Really cool piece up here. You'll see there's some additional outlets. And so what Tyler's going to do with that is a few of his first projects will actually be creating backlit signs that will not only have a Viroqua logo that students will design and create, but also the logos of all of the CTE clubs. So there'll be an FBLA, an FCCLA, Skills USA, etc. All of their logos will be up on the wall and backlit, and that's going to be designed by the students. And then you can see over to the right over here, all of the visibility as we're transitioning between spaces. So there are these glass garage doors into every room within that tech ed wing, so that not only do we have that ease, but when you're going and having a teacher potentially in one space, they can see into the spaces if they have to step out for a moment. They've got that visibility in those sight lines. There's the Fab Lab on the left. And so this was a room that will have a bunch of incredible equipment, including some lasers and then robotic arms, 3D printers. They call this a clean shop space, and it's going to be really, really cool. And then as you can see on the right, I believe we've got all of our tech ed equipment in now. We were waiting on one piece that they tried to deliver, very, very broken. But that one I believe came in now. And I think we've got all of our tech ed equipment in. So it's incredible. We are so excited for the 12th. So their drop dead kind of date where they have to turn everything back over to us is December 6th, which is quickly approaching. But as you can see, once once the flooring is done and equipment is placed, you know, it really is, you know, on some of these popping in ceiling tiles in this room is about ready to turn over. And so, yeah, it's really, really, really exciting. Any questions?
This is Robert. I have a question.
Yep,
You know what it is?
I
Um,
probably do, but
yes.
why don't you shoot?
How are we gonna include agriculture in the name? Had a recognition the other night from a former ag teacher, FFA advisor. Our community, a lot of rural tax dollars go in. Ag is a big part of our community. It's also a big part of this facility. We do have an ag teacher. And I just believe that they start healing some things after the referendum. It sure would be nice to include ag somehow in the name.
So any naming of anything isn't really on the agenda for discussion, so if we could just go on to,
Well, we're gonna have to do it sometime, Angie.
I
I know
understand
it's
that, but
not
it
on the
isn't on the
agenda, but it
agenda.
seems like some people are deciding everything about this project when the board doesn't know what's going on. And I'm very frustrated with it. And I think that is one of the reasons.
So we could
why
add it to another agenda, but it isn't on this one. So if we could continue on with the other things that are on the agenda, I'd appreciate it.
Well, maybe we'll have a nice protest for you.
Okay, the next item.
It's like a
would-
threat, Robert.
The
And
next.
I would like to stop talking about this also.
The next item is the referendum information.
So, yeah, going into this conversation, first of all, you know, I think we need to not only acknowledge, you know, the referendum results, but also talk about some next steps and some timeline pieces. As we're going through, you know, it was absolutely a close vote. You know, of 40, you know, for 49.7% in support of, and so a point, you know, 0.3% loss. And we have to go through that process in a variety of ways. And so, one, you know, I think we need to just very clearly set out here that our next steps are that we need to remain curious, right? And so, when we have a vote this close, it's in some ways even harder than if it's a blowout loss, because then you have some very clear, hey, you came with the wrong amounts or the wrong time, or you know, there is some clarity that happens within one of those, you know, some of those processes, and we don't have that. What we do have is, you know, very, very tight, you know, and a very close vote. And so again, in the spirit of that and remaining, you know, curious, I think we need to make sure that we're asking those questions of why do we feel this referendum failed, and being very open and honest and having those conversations. I think, you know, as we again move forward, we need to make sure that we get that and gather that feedback. And so that's my call, you know, to the board, as far as, you know, what I would like, you know, for next steps, if possible, would be to have everybody, you know, administrators and board members, asking individuals in the community of why they believe the referendum failed, and then bringing them back on our December 2nd legislative linkage. That's a board workshop. And so we can have a very, you know, honest discussion about what we've heard. And again, that call is to stay curious. And I think that probably is one that we can take beyond this referendum question, and having those appropriate conversations of just, all right, we need to, you know, hear and listen to our community. when we look back on the timeline of things, I think there are two major things that I think we need to point to and look at, right? One of them is our timeline. And so I take full responsibility as we're going through this process. We used a timeline that has worked prior to get the word out. And while we knew that early voting was going to take effect, we did not realize the extent to which that was. And so when we talk about the community meetings that we have and the all of the community groups that I met with, many of them were after early voting had opened. And if you drove past City Hall or noticed anything for those early voting days, it was an incredible impact on not only our community, but communities across the country. And so that's one thing that I think we need to be very aware of as we go forward. The second piece there, and this one, while it's going to be personal, I think it's really important that I say it. And I emailed the board after the election results, and I think it's really even more important now as we continue to talk about this. In the middle of this process, we lost a very important member of our team as far as this referendum process. And while Chris has stepped in, it was a time where instead of me expanding my conversations and asking more and more people for their not only support, but just understanding and being able to spread the word on the why the district was asking, this question of the community. I went inside and I went internal, and it was a lot of, I think it was a mix of some things, right? One of them was a confidence that we were asking the right question at the right time. And then a secondary piece of taking ownership of this in a way that I felt this was my burden to bear, right? And so instead of, asking for more support from our staff, from our community members that were willing to help, and our board members, I misread this and I attempted to do this more on my own. And those are two huge pieces that moving forward we just can't do. So as we go forward, and continue to talk about this, a couple of things that I think are really important is that the work after and for a spring referendum and me recommending that started on November 6th, and really working on what did we miss and how can we get better at this. And so now, the work from this point on until the spring is really for the board is information gathering. And that's the feedback that I'm requesting of each of you, and working with our financial team, with Chris, myself, and Baird, to make sure that our numbers are accurate, make sure that we are able to communicate them in a positive way. Our admin team, not only with the Baird financial work, we have also partnered with the Donovan Group. And so you've heard of them before. They are, through my WASDA membership, they are on retainer for some emergency communications pieces. And so things when you're going through or need to communicate something out to your parents or community in a quick time frame, they are essentially on call for those. We have only had to use them a few times over the past 5 years, but I'm always very, very impressed with not only the accuracy and the speed of which they respond and help us to communicate out. But also the thoughtfulness and the understanding that on the other side, there's going to be a parent on the other side of this email, or someone that is concerned about something on the other side of this email. And so they offer, they do this with other schools. and almost solely for operational referendums. And so when you look at this, during the 2022 capital project, we had essentially Myron, construction that that's part of what they do, is go through and they help with the getting out information, they help with logo design and flyer design and things like that, because that's part of how they get, they get paid as if they don't get if we don't pass a referendum, there's not a project, right? So there's not their money there. With operational referendums, there are very few companies that are able to support us in those types of ways. And so Baird's going to be able to essentially partner and not only be a thought partner, but also be able to help us design and help us to communicate better with our community. And I think that that's when, as we're dissecting this is more and more of what we're hearing, is that if people knew more about this, that it would have been a different result. Not that I haven't had anybody say that the money was too much or that the timing was off, but I didn't know about it. And that's what I keep hearing over and over and over again. And so, so they are able to help with flyers, fact sheets, brochures, surveys and focus groups, key messaging, talking points, postcards, brochure style mailers. And that's another one that we know we need to get better at. We did look into a mailer and got some advice during the fall that during a presidential campaign, sending one more mailer was not the solution to get the word out. And so again, we should have some different results in the spring as far as that goes. And again, so working with those, we've also assembled a group of teacher leaders from throughout the district that we sat down with today for the first time, that is really gonna, help the district in advising us through this process as far as communicating and be sure we're communicating with our staff better. And so that's going to be a piece where we had a great conversation today. I look forward to those conversations continuing. And working backwards from the timeline, essentially, if you are going to go for an April 1st vote, you would need to pass a resolution in January. So again, that's kind of where we are. We have a little bit of time here to gather the solutions and to go from there. And I want to lead, again, have that conversation of like, there are some things that you can and cannot do. And so there's a sheet over here that's from WASB. So this is not, from me, this is from your own organization that is talking about what board members can and cannot do. And essentially, you guys can again have those read through that individually. If you have questions, you can let me know. Obviously, we don't want anybody to get in trouble or for the district to cross any lines, but there are some very distinct lines that and things that board members can do. And so yeah. And again, kind of coming back to this, without relying on a lot of people outside of my office, we had a lot of great engagement, and this solution just wasn't supported. But I really want to be very, very clear: the needs of the district, of our students and our staff, have not gone anywhere. Right? They're still there, and those that they aren't just going to go away just because of this. Because we didn't find the right solution at this point in time. I talked a lot.
Thank you, Tom.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
The only thing I can say is that it was 30, the difference was 30 votes. If 16 people voted for it, that voted against it, it would have passed. So it's definitely supported in our community, but just working through the process again and maybe educating more would be beneficial, and it's something that isn't going to go away in any way, shape, or form. The needs are still the same needs.
Wonder what would happen if we'd have went for 1.1.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know that, Robert. Again, we'll bring you know, we can bring that to that first Monday in December meeting. Because if you're hearing that it was the amount, that would be different than what I'm hearing right now. And so that's definitely something that if you know, if that's what the feedback you're getting, we would definitely need to have that at the table at that meeting.
All right, the next topic is the Veterans Day program, Jason, and you also have the winter activities.
Yeah, so I'll start with winter activities. We have a concert coming up next month. Be here before we know it. And winter sports are off and running practices. I believe now everybody has started as of today. The first competition we have coming up, girls basketball will be home on Thursday versus Royal. So it's hard to believe, although the weather's changed a little bit, so maybe it's not as hard to believe. But we're in the winter sports season and moving on from there. Veterans Day program, we had Veterans Day program just a week ago today, I think. It was kind of an interesting program because and I don't know if it's been truly 50 years or not, but typically the Veterans Day program process was Swanson designing it all and telling us what was going on and communicating with everybody. So I would say this was definitely more hands on deck for everybody. We had a lot of great communications within the school and outside of the school, working with the VFW, working with the Legion, working with the music department, working with the student council, advisors, to put together a program that was similar. Part of the reason one of the things we really felt like we needed to do during the middle of this program, with this being the first one since Pete's passing, a little bit of a recognition of the work that he had put in, not only school, but Legion and VFW also. So his great friend Gary Gilbertson offered to have that role of it. So for those that don't know, Gary broadcasts from the top of the bleacher during all those events. So Gary took the walk down to the podium and gave a very nice speech as far as that. John Jones did our presentation. His daughter is a senior. He's a retired sergeant in the U.S. Army. So he gave a great presentation. It was funny ahead of time because we talked and he's like, I think I got it down to 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, don't go longer than that. I said, like I usually tell the valedictorian, salutatorian, like nobody ever complains about being too short. But sometimes they'll complain about going too long, but he was very excited to do it, and their nerves probably kicked in a little bit at that point. So he got done in about 6. But it worked out fairly well. That was a good time just interacting with the community, and we never really do a head count, but it appeared to be a great turnout. I know Kim was there too. Interacting with different people, so it was definitely had a different feel to it, but still a very successful event between us and the community.
Heard wonderful things about it. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have had quite a few actually people stop me, a couple of phone calls about how wonderful it was. So thank you for the work that went into that.
We kind of definitely can say at this point we took for granted how much organization the piece did for this event, and it probably won't be the only event throughout the school year that will probably feel that same, but everybody really definitely wanted to come together and not only to honor the event, but also to honor the work that Pete had put in to it throughout the years.
And then the winter activities.
Yeah, basically with the sports up and running, concerts coming soon,
Any,
winter's coming.
have they started?
No actual games or anything at this point. But practices are, all of them are going on. The last batch started today. So it's off and running, literally and substantially.
And Steve, do you have anything updates for the middle school about activities?
Yeah, so as with all reports, starts with the U-Hawks rock to the custodial crew in this case, because with winter activities as things move from outside of the building to inside of the building, obviously it adds a number of expectations with setup and tear down, and then a number of unexpected requests during those events too. And amidst all of that, they still do an excellent job of keeping our building maintained and clean. So a huge U-Hawks rock to our custodial crew. Boys basketball is underway for the middle school. Games are already being played, including one tweak to the schedule of a game that was supposed to be tomorrow, or triangular that was supposed to be tomorrow, being scheduled for today, and that was made today. So there were the Andreas of the world running around making sure that that students were aware of it and that jerseys were getting delivered and everything. Wrestling started today for the middle school. Girls basketball starts in January. That starts after break. But we've got esports coming up for the middle school as well. It's going to be, we took fourth place, by the way, in the fall for our Smash Brothers League. And for the winter, it's Rocket League, which, if you're unfamiliar with the game, is this interesting mashup between like race car driving and soccer, because those two things make sense to put together. So that is what's coming up for esports. And a huge shout out to Gidget and to Danny for keeping that not just running, but just an awesome welcoming space for the kids that participate in that too. Drama is upon us as well. So clients are up as of today outside of Director Emily Sainer's classroom, and auditions will be taking place December 3rd through the 5th. The production this year is called Hot Lunch, which is a comedy that really kind of delves into the goings on of the real heart of a middle school school day, which is, of course, lunchtime. So that's going to be the production this year. And the performances will take place in March. So auditions again start beginning of December. And then Fast and Furious, we get right into rehearsals to make sure that those performances in March are top notch. We had honors band today where we had 10 middle schoolers representing Viroqua at honors band. We've got orchestra large group festival on Wednesday, where our 8th grade orchestra is going to be representing our school. And then we've got, as Jason was saying, the winter concerts are going to be coming up here as well. December 9th is the combined winter concert for the middle school. That's at 6 p.m. And yeah, really exciting winter activities season. Winter is upon us, which brings some really cool opportunities for our students.
Anyone have any questions for Jason or Steve? Thank you. Board report. Vicki, anything with Laurel?
The governance council met last week on the 12th, and the 2 newly elected members joined. And then they voted for the officer positions. So they're formed for the year, and they are working on the handbook, specifically looked at service hours that are required of students. So they'll continue that work. And another plug for the cabaret, December 13th and 14th. Is there a time now, Ernest? Do you know? I don't. Okay, well, so you can go to the ribbon cutting one night and then go to the cabaret.
Thank you. BAMS update, Kim and Pat.
BAMS is working on their website and getting that going. And they have a new treasurer that they voted on tonight. Jim German will be the new treasurer. And otherwise, you know, enrollment, everything, staffing, everything's going well. And you saw the presentation, we discussed that at the meeting already, so.
Do you know when the website might be ready?
I do not.
Okay.
The website's outdated, it's just like we tweak revisions to it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Next, WSB and the legislative update. We received this, the school news. It has the sessions, breakout sessions for the school board convention in January. And I know many people have told Beth already if they're going to be attending or not going to be attending. But if you haven't, please let her know. And then we do have December 2nd at 5 or 5:15. 15 is the special board meeting that we're having. And then the board workshop legislative linkage, also. And December 4th, there will be a closed session meeting. The 6th, it looks like a middle school concert. The 10th, first, third grade concert. 13th is ABT survey that'll be due by noon. The 16th is a board workshop at 5:30. And then the regular board meeting is at 7. And so I know it is very busy for people, and there's also on the 18th, a high school concert. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks.